Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, United Nations say record 100,000 fled Syria in August. And U.S. drone strikes killed 13 in Pakistan and Yemen. And U.S. Embassy vehicle attacked in Pakistan. And Bahrain court upholds convictions of opposition activists. And NATO suspends Afghan police training following wave of attacks. And 6 killed in suicide attack on NATO base. And Hurricane Isaac toll stands at 8. And the RNC devoid of substance on policy, Obama says. And Romney hits Obama on jobs and distances self from Bush. And federal court strikes down Ohio ban on early weekend voting. And Karl Rove apologizes for joking of Todd Aiken murder. And Chicago teachers rally ahead of potential strike. And hundreds protest in Charlotte before DNC. And anti-coup protests grow in Maldives. And South African prosecutors withdraw charges against minors as unrest spreads. And prosecutors close probe of Arizona Sheriff Arpaio. And Pentagon threatens legal action against East ex-SEAL over bin Laden book. GVTV News is broadcast at Grass Valley Television, division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. In today's first world news story, United Nations is warning some 100,000 refugees fled Syria last month, the highest monthly total in the 18-month conflict so far. Figure accounts for nearly half the total number of refugees registered or awaiting registration with the United Nations. Syrian opposition activists say August was also the deadliest of Syria's civil war, with an estimated 5,000 people killed. At least 13 people have been killed in U.S. drone strikes in Pakistan and in Yemen. The Yemeni government says 8 militants were killed in an eastern region on Friday. Pakistani officials say 5 people died in drone attack the following day. And at least 3 people were killed in Pakistan on Monday when a suicide bomber struck a U.S. consular vehicle in the city of Peshawar. 2 U.S. embassy staffers were also wounded in the attack. An appeals court in Bahrain has upheld the conviction of 20 activists on allegations of plotting to overthrow the U.S.-backed regime. Activists were sentenced by a military court last year. 8 of them have life behind bars. Ruling comes days after tens of thousands of people rallied against the monarchy in the country's first authorized demonstration in over a month. Protesters held up pictures of the number of jailed Bahraini activists, including Bahrain's Center of Human Rights Nabil Rajab, recently sentenced to 3 years in prison. The U.S.-led NATO occupation of Afghanistan has suspended training of Afghan local police and special operations forces following the relentless spat of attacks on international soldiers. The training will be suspended for at least a month to root out alleged infiltrators from the militant groups. The suspension does not apply to the bulk of the Afghan forces at national level. Speaking in Belgium, NATO Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen said Afghan militants won't derail the occupation missions in Afghanistan. Also said, don't forget that in Taliban it's impossible to win militarily, but they will try to gain some PR by undermining trust and confidence between the foreign troops and Afghan security forces. So obviously I will not exclude the possibility that Taliban try to infiltrate the Afghan security forces, but once again they will not succeed in derailing our strategy. In news from Afghanistan, 6 civilians were killed on Saturday in a suicide bombing on a NATO base in Wardak province. No NATO troops were harmed in the attack. And the death toll from Hurricane Isaac's battering the Gulf Coast last week stands at 6 in Louisiana, 2 in a neighboring Mississippi, and both states endured massive flooding. Ahead of the Democratic National Convention, President Obama toured damaged areas on Monday, after Romney did, and he said, "As you can see, folks are on the ground, already cleared out the debris and making sure that they're going to be able to recover as rapidly as possible. I want to particularly thank FEMA and the state and local authorities, because sometimes in the past we haven't seen this kind of coordination that is necessary in response to these kinds of disasters. This time we've seen it." And President Obama campaigned in battleground states over the weekend ahead of the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. Speaking in Boulder, Colorado, Obama criticized Republicans for the message that came out of their convention in Tampa. And he said, "There was a lot of talk about hard truths and bold choices, but nobody ever actually bothered to tell you what they were. And when Governor Romney had his chance to let you in on his secret, he did not offer a single new idea, just retreads of the same old policies that have been sticking it to the middle class for years. They're talking a lot about me, they talked a lot about him, and they didn't say much about you." Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney returned to the campaign trail over the weekend after formally accepting his party's nomination in Tampa last week. Speaking in the battleground state of Ohio, Romney attacked President Obama's record on jobs while making an apparent attempt to distance himself from last Republican president George W. Bush. Mitt Romney said he was going to create more jobs, and today 23 million people are out of work, have stopped looking for work, or underemployed. Let me tell you, if you have a coach that's 0 and 23 million, you say it's time to get a new coach. We're going to finally have to do something that Republicans have spoken about a long time, and for a while we didn't do it. When we had to lead, we let people down. We need to make sure we don't lead them down this time. I will cut the deficit and get us on track to balance the budget." Unquote. Federal judge has struck down Ohio's effort to prevent early voting from the weekend before the election. Ohio's Republican-controlled legislature had barred earlier weekend voting, claiming state officials needed time to prepare for Election Day. But on Friday, U.S. District Court ruled the state has failed to provide a convincing argument. Democrats have accused Republicans of seeking to block early voting in a bid to disfranchise those likely to cast their ballots for President Obama. Ohio's Republican Attorney General says he plans to appeal. And top Republican strategist Karl Rove has apologized in Missouri to Missouri Representative and Senate candidate Todd Akin after joking Akin might be found mysteriously murdered. Akin withdrew widespread condemnation and calls to drop out of the Senate race after suggesting it was rare for women to get pregnant from what he termed legitimate rape. Last week, a reporter from Bloomberg Business Week who attended the exclusive briefing with Rove on the final day of the Republican National Convention quoted the influential strategist saying, "We should sink Todd Akin. If he's found mysteriously murdered, don't look for my whereabouts." During the elite fundraiser, Grove also laid out his strategy for winning the 2012 presidential election. At one point, saying people the Republicans need to win over what had previously voted for the people that had previously voted for Barack Obama. In Chicago, some 18,000 teachers and their supporters rallied on Labor Day ahead of possible strike next week and could see more than 26,000 teachers and other workers walk off the job. Chicago Teachers Union is attempting to negotiate a fair contract with the nation's third largest school district. The union remains concerned about issues including pay, a controversial new evaluation process for teachers, and then a possible closure of as many as 100 schools. And hundreds of demonstrators rallied in Charlotte on Sunday in a protest ahead of the Democratic National Convention. Organizers of the March on Wall Street South said they have mobilized to highlight the corporatist policies of both Democrats and Republicans. Ben Carroll said, "We're going to organize and we're going to fight back," and that people feel really frustrated and rejected by the political system, that politicians of both parties aren't doing anything to represent the interests of people, and at the end of the day are representing the interests of the same banks and corporations here in Charlotte. Unrest is growing in Maldives in the conflict between the government and supporters of the ousted President Mohamed Nasheed. On Friday, state forces cracked down on a protest of thousands of people led by Nasheed, calling for early elections. Tensions have flared since last week when a Commonwealth-backed panel rejected Nasheed's claims to have been overthrown in a coup and at gunpoint earlier this year. Nasheed is well known internationally for his activism against the issues of global warming, which he says threatens the survival of his small island country. And South African prosecutors have withdrawn murder charges against striking miners for the killings of 34 colleagues last month. The charges had sparked outrage because the victims were in fact shot dead by police. They were killed more than a week after walking off a job at a Marikana platinum mine in a call for higher pay. Despite withdrawing charges against the miners, South African prosecutors said they could be reinstated at the end of the new investigation. Kobo Jiba said the decision and pronouncement on final charges to be proffered against any persons involved will only be made once all investigations have been completed. The murder charges against the current 270 suspects, which was provisional anyway, will be formally withdrawn provisionally in a court in the next court appearance. Miners and protesters or the accused persons are to be released conditionally on warnings that their case postponed pending the finalization of investigation. The unrest in South Africa spread earlier yesterday with police firing tear gas and rubber bullets at striking miners at a gold mine near Johannesburg. Sorry for the noise in the background, but you know, sometimes. Federal prosecutors have closed a criminal probe alleged financial misconduct by Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Arpaio's office has been under investigation since November 2010 over accusations of misusing county credit cards, and anyway, it was a bogus charge. Pentagon is threatening a legal action against former Navy SEAL who has authorized the new book detailing his role in the operation that killed Osama bin Laden last year. The military says the book violates the Navy's non-disclosure agreements. The author, Mark Bessanetti, writes under the pseudonym of Mark Owen. The book's revelations included more evidence that bin Laden posed no actual threat to the U.S. forces who stormed his compound and took his life. According to Bessanetti, bin Laden was unarmed when he was shot dead. And that's it for World News today. Now, another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonah's an American. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and the pictures in the blotter are not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from the Nevada County Law Enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Tuesday, 7:24 a.m. A report was taken from a business on 100 block of Bank Street of a transient going through garbage, attempting to get coffee. A report was taken from Railroad Avenue of a fire at a homeless camp. At 8:48 a.m., a report was taken from a business on 100 block of Church Street of a burglary. And 10:41 a.m., a report was taken from 900 block of Idaho Maryland Road of the theft of funds from a bank account. And 11:45 a.m., a report was taken from 600 block of South Auburn Street of a fraudulent check. And 4:10 p.m., a report was taken from a business on 200 block of Colfax Avenue that trucks are speeding now and that the roads had been freshly paved. And 4:13 p.m., a report was taken from 500 block of East Main Street, found a hypodermic kit near a trash can. He would like it picked up. And 6:51 p.m., a report was taken from 400 block of Brunswick Road over a vehicle running over things. And Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Tuesday, 9:05 a.m., a report was taken from 12,000 block of Nevada City Highway of unauthorized use of a credit card. And 10:21 a.m., a report was taken from 18,000 block of Mandela Star Road of theft of a generator. And 10:25 a.m., a report was taken from 25,000 block of Highway 49. Two suspects on the caller's property wanting to fight the caller because one of his ex-girlfriends had been staying at the property. The caller reported firing a pellet gun to scare some individuals off. These individuals off. One of the individuals threatened to beat up the caller. 4:01 p.m. a report was taken near intersection of Comby Road and Highway 49. The commercial truck nearly ran a caller off the road. 4:03 p.m. a report was taken from South Fork and Yuba River of theft of a purse from a locked vehicle. And 4:13 p.m. a report was taken from Spencerville Road of finding a wallet containing several little baggies filled with white powder. And 7:30 p.m. a report was taken from Englebright Lake of a burglary of an item from a truck. And Nevada City Police Department on Tuesday. 11:24 a.m. a report was taken from 300 block of Broad Street of a theft from the previous day. And 12:58 p.m. a report was taken from 100 block of Main Street of theft of two bells and a note that other items had been moved around. And 2:42 p.m. a grand theft auto was taken on Old Airport Road. And 6 p.m. a report was taken from business in 700 block of Zion Street of theft of crates. And 8:19 p.m. a report was taken from intersection of Rustic and Prospector Roads that he killed a deer with a bow and arrow, then his neighbor stole it and refused to return it. And that's it for the blotter today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, Nevada County to launch new prescription drug savings program. And a girl, 7, suffers severe injuries in Labor Day watercraft collision on Lake Tahoe. And Cody Feeler found not guilty due to insanity in James Turner death. And our first story, out of Truckee, Nevada County and Financial Marketing Concepts, FMC, is launching a new prescription drug discount program to help county residents. The new Coast to Coast RX card will allow all county residents, regardless of income, age, or health status, to participate in a program to save on the cost of their medications. The program saved cardholders throughout the nation more than 55% in 2011 on the cost of prescription drugs. Even pets and other people living outside the county are able to take part in the program. The RX card will be distributed free of charge and can be used in all pharmacy chains and most independent pharmacies in Nevada County. It includes more than 60,000 drugs in its formulary. With healthcare costs on the rise, prescription drug discounts will help ease some of the financial burdens individuals and families are facing at a time when they need it the most, said Jeff Brown, director of Nevada County's Health and Human Service Agency. There's no eligibility requirements, so the RX card is expected to have a sizable impact on uninsured residents or residents facing high insurance deductibles. If a particular drug isn't covered under a person's health plan, they can use the card to save on those prescriptions. Providing savings for residents through the RX program will come at no expense to the county. In fact, FMC will pay the county a royalty of $1.25 per prescription, and the royalty does not increase cardholder cost. Besides the discount on prescriptions, the card also provides dental, vision, diabetic testing supplies, and hearing discounts up to 50% for entire family, 50 to 80% discount for lab and imaging tests. Further helps residents save even more costs on their costs for these services. Martin Dettelbach, Chief Marketing Officer of Financial Marketing Concepts of Ponte Verde Beach, Florida, the issue of the Coast to Coast RX free discount card, said, "We are pleased to work with Nevada County to help individuals, their families, and pets combat the rising cost of health care. We appreciate all the county and the local pharmacies and what they're doing to help those in need." The Coast to Coast RX card will be available for residents at most participating pharmacies, government offices, and libraries and county health facilities. Residents will also be able to print RX cards, check their prescription prices, and view the nearest participating locations at www.coasttocoastrx.com, or the Coast to Coast RX card will provide residents with a valuable tool to help maintain their health and well-being at an affordable cost. Other California counties with the program include Alameda, Amador, Contra Costa, Fresno, Humboldt, Placer, San Bernardino, San Diego, San Joaquin, San Luis Obispo, San Mateo, San Barbara, and Santa Cruz, and Ventura, and Yolo. A number of other counties in the state are in the process of approving that program. In a sad story out of South Lake Tahoe, California, 7-year-old girl suffered severe leg and foot injuries and was hospitalized along with her 5-year-old brother and mother following a personal watercraft collision last Monday in Lake Tahoe. According to South Lake Tahoe Police Department, dispatchers received a 911 call at about 9:45 a.m. Monday reporting that two personal watercrafts had collided about a quarter mile northwest of Timber Cove Beach. Both vessels had been rented at the Timber Cove Marina by 45-year-old Sufian Kazmi and his wife, Sabia Kazmi of San Jose, California, neither of whom had prior experience or any kind of operating of a personal watercraft, according to police. The father and mother each took one of their children as a passenger, seated behind them. Everyone was wearing life jackets. After about half an hour, the mother's craft crossed in front of her father's. Both were traveling about 30 miles per hour when the front of the father's craft struck the mother's craft broadside. The parents of both children were ejected from the watercraft. Personnel from the Timbercraft Marina rescued the family, and the victims were returned back to the Timber Cove Pier in 2 boats. The 7-year-old girl suffered severe injuries believed to be non-life-threatening to her leg and foot and was flown to Reno for medical assistance, according to the police. 5-year-old boy and his mother also suffered moderate head and leg injuries and were transported to Barton Memorial Hospital. The father was relatively unhurt. The investigation is continuing. No citations had been issued. In a story we had been covering since it happened, Cody Feeler was found not guilty by reason of insanity in the death of James Turner, 75, of Alta Sierra. His case had been referred to the Forensic Conditional Release Program for recommendations back to the sentencing court with Nevada County Superior Court Judge Tom Anderson. That'll be in the future. Feeler, a local and up-and-coming artist, was arrested and charged in the case after local law enforcement found him at his home not far from James Turner's in a bathtub and incoherent. Bloody clothes were also found there, and from the scene where James Turner was found unconscious was a trail of blood that led authorities to the alleged weapon, a wooden log. We will keep you informed on this case to its conclusions. And that's it today. Sorry we had kind of a short week because of the holiday. That's it for local news today. We would like to thank Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, Ubinet, Sierra Foothills Report, the Union, local law enforcement, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. Remember, we are the only visual video news media in Nevada County, and we are free for you to watch 7 days a week. If you have local stories and would like to have them aired on our news, please email us with the story to 750 words, and if you have pictures, please include them in the email to grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com. Please include some type of contact information for verification of facts. You can watch this broadcast on Comcast Cable, NCTV, Channel 11 in Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m., Saturday, and 8 p.m. Sunday, and Suddenlink Channel 16 in Truckee and Alta Sierra, same times. We also are streamed on the internet, NCTV's Digital Media Center website at NevadaCountyTV.org and our website, GVTV.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television that plays 24/7 on the net, GrassValleyTelevision.com. We post to Facebook, YouTube, Blip.tv, and many other sites, and have RSS feed and video podcast on iTunes. Just search under Video Podcast for GVTV News. Grass Valley Television also videotapes local events around Nevada County. If you have a need for video, you can contact us for more info at grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com or 530-362-8889. This show produced by Grass Valley Television of Rural Counties Television Network. We hope you will stay tuned to us for this next season as we're going to spice up the news in the future. You can always email us ideas and comments, and if you like us on Facebook, we like that. News Player can be embedded on your site, or you can go to our sites, which we had already mentioned. Due to the lack of underwriters this year, we will be doing 3 shows a week, playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday editions. We should be expanding when we get more community support. Grass Valley Television works hard to bring you news and entertainment from around the world and local content you do not get on mainstream media. We want to expand and improve what you see, and we need your help. If you support this program and want to